Chapter 20. The Force is strong with you, young Skywalker, Darth Vader said as his prey walked straight into his trap, but you are not a Jedi yet. Luke Skywalker had his blaster in hand as he entered the gloomy carbon freezing chamber, but he holstered it before he climbed the flight of steps to stand before Vader. There, on the elevated platform that encircled the pit, Vader stood still, waiting for Skywalker to make his next move. When Luke reached for his lightsaber and ignited its blue blade, Vader noticed that it was indeed the same weapon Obi-Wan had appropriated from Anakin Skywalker on Mustafar. But it wasn't time to share this information with Luke. Not yet. Vader ignited his own lightsaber. Luke swung first, but Vader blocked the blow with ease. The duel was on. Luke fought bravely and even inventively, occasionally impressing Vader with unexpected moves. He even managed to leap out of the carbon freezing chamber, preventing Vader from rendering him immobile. But Vader stalked him through the Cloud City's reactor control room, used the Force to tear heavy machinery from the walls and hurl them at Luke, and ultimately drove him out onto a gantry that extended into the reactor shaft. As the Bespin winds tore through the shaft, Luke swung his lightsaber to deliver a glancing blow on Vader's right shoulder plate. Vader snarled as Luke leaped farther out onto the gantry. Balanced on a narrow beam, Luke was clinging to a weather sensor with his left hand as Vader swung hard with his lightsaber. Luke screamed as Vader's red blade swept through his right wrist and watched with horror as his hand and lightsaber fell away into the deep reactor shaft. "There is no escape," Vader said as his wounded opponent edged farther away to cling to a sensor array at the end of the gantry. "Don't make me destroy you," he added, increasing the volume of his voice so he could be heard over the high winds. "You do not yet realize your importance. You have only begun to discover your power. Join me, and I will complete your training. With our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy." "I'll never join you," Luke screamed back. "If only you knew the power of the dark side," Vader said, and decided that the time had come to reveal all. "Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father." "He told me enough," Luke said through clenched teeth as he clung to the sensor array. "He told me you killed him." "No," Vader said. "I am your father." Darth Vader did not know how Luke would react. He could not imagine that the young man would be more shocked than Vader had been when the Emperor had informed him that Luke was Anakin Skywalker's son. "No," Luke whimpered. "No, that's not true. That's impossible." Remembering how the Emperor had encouraged his acceptance, Vader said, "Search your feelings. You know it to be true." "No!" Luke shouted. "No!" The wind howled, and Vader's black cape flapped wildly at his back. "Luke, you can destroy the Emperor. He has foreseen this. It is your destiny." He reached out to Luke, beckoning him to leave the gantry and come to his side. "Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son." Still clinging to the sensor array, Luke glanced down at the shaft. "Come with me," Vader urged. "It is the only way." Unexpectedly, Luke opened his arms, releasing the array and allowing himself to plummet into the deep shaft. Vader leaned out over the edge of the gantry to see his son's rapidly receding form tumble into an open exhaust pipe in the shaft's wall. The Sith Lord was certain Luke was still alive. If he had died, I would have sensed it. After Vader left the reactor shaft, Imperial officers informed him that the duplicitous Lando Calrissian had directed all residents and visitors to evacuate Cloud City, and that Calrissian, Princess Leia, and the Wookiee had already escaped in the Millennium Falcon. Vader knew they wouldn't get far, for Imperial technicians had already taken the precaution of disabling the Millennium Falcon's hyperdrive. Vader immediately dispatched 2 squads of stormtroopers to find Luke. Confident that Luke and the Falcon's crew would soon be recovered and delivered to him, he made his way to a shuttle and flew back to the Executor. Upon his arrival, Vader remained confident when he was notified that the Millennium Falcon had raced back to Cloud City to rescue Luke. "Let his allies save him," Vader thought, "and then I shall capture them all." While the Millennium Falcon attempted to evade the Imperial blockade around Bespin, Vader used the Force to telepathically call out to his son from the Executor, "Luke." "Father," Luke called back. "Son," Vader said, and felt a thrill as he realized Luke had accepted the truth. As the rebel freighter flew past Vader's Star Destroyer, Vader sensed Luke's proximity and used the Force to call him to him again. Son, come with me. When Luke did not respond, Vader added, Luke, it is your destiny. But then the Millennium Falcon vanished into hyperspace, and this time the Corellian freighter was not carrying an Imperial tracking device. Once again, Vader had been robbed.